We're going to witness an absolutely amazing clash here. This is Ian Nepomniachtchi, 2 times candidates winner, and he will take on Praggnananda. Yes, this game is from World Rapid Championships 2025. It happened a few months ago, but what is very important is that this game has not been published and it's an incredible game, and I would love to go over it with you. Nepo, such a amazing player, clearly one of the best in the world, and he takes on Praggnananda. That smile on his face, it's a battle of generations. Prag clearly in best shape here. He made it to the candidates 2026, and let's see if he manages to do well in this round 12 encounter. 15 minutes plus 10 seconds increment. The players are ready, and off we go. Yan with the white pieces opens with pawn to e4, and Prag plays e5. Knight comes out to f3, knight to c6, defending the pawn. Bishop b5, calmly played the Ruy Lopez. And now Prag can go a6, the main line, knight f6, the Berlin. He can even try for some sidelines, and he goes a6 first. Bishop comes to a4. And now plays knight g7, a line that's not very popular like the main one with knight f6. But knight e7 has its points. The knight may want to go to g6 castles. And now you could play g6, bishop g7 and castle. But he goes knight to g6. d4. Well, that's the way you want to fight for the full point. And that is, I mean, not a full point, but an advantage. An opening advantage, pawn to d4. Pawn takes pawn. Knight takes, and he plays his bishop out to c5. Now one idea is to play knight to f5, eyeing the g7 pawn, but Nepo goes for a slightly more conservative approach. He goes c3, and now black castles here. Bishop comes out to e3. It does give me a bit of Scotch vibes here, but what about the e4 pawn? Bishop goes back to a7 firstly. And now Nepo goes for a simplifying maneuver. He takes on c6. You can take with b pawn, d pawn. He takes back with the d pawn here. And the bishops are traded. Bishop takes a7. Rook takes a7. And now maybe f4 is an interesting move. He takes on d8. Rook takes d8 and rook d1. So trades happening on the board. Takes, bishop takes. Are the players heading towards a draw? Prag gets his rook back. The idea is to play bishop e6 and quickly get the rook into the game. White is banking on the superior pawn structure. White has a kingside majority that can start rolling. Bishop comes to c2. But there's this pressure on the a2 pawn, which is a little bit weird, and the rook is coming to d file. Not so simple. c5 played. He's trying to clamp down the queen side. a3 played, rightly so. Maybe he'll also try to trade the rooks now. Prag quickly goes bishop g4. Maybe he wants to take and jump in with his rook to d2. But before he can do that, Nepo challenges the rook on the d file. The rooks are traded. Bishop takes. And now knight to f4. Look at this. The knight is jumping into d3 to attack the b2 pawn. King f1 played. But already c4 just clamps down the entire structure. Will Prag find it? He's already better. He finds it. Pawn to c4. And now Nepo in big trouble. Maybe he has to play bishop e2. But he goes h3. And now bishop takes f3. Bishop takes f3. Knight d3. That does look great. But instead, Prag, well, is he going for it? Is he going to take? No, he goes bishop h5. He puts his bishop back on the h5 square. And this is actually huge pressure for Ian Nepomniachtchi. He goes g4. Breaks the pin, but now e4 is hanging, h3 is hanging. He goes knight d2, defending this, also attacking the pawn on c4. Knight takes pawn, chops off the pawn. If you take on c4, bishop e4 and black is better, so he plays king e2. Prag is a pawn up now. Pawn to f6, getting the king into the game quickly. Or even bishop f7 for that matter looks nice. King e3, and he's going to play bishop f7. The only problem here is that the white king is completely quickly moving into the game via d4. Bishop f7 played. Okay, king d4, you're losing the f2 pawn. So first f4, saving the pawn. g5 played by Pragg. He's fighting for the dark squares and the space. f5 by Nepo. Knight jumps to f4. Bishop comes up, attacking the pawn here on c4. Should Pragg push the pawn to b5? I think he must. But now, are you afraid of king here? No, e2 is hanging, so the bishop first pulls back. And now king f8, king e7, king d6. This is the right way to go. This would be the perfect way to play pawn to c5. But instead, Pragg goes h5. Takes. Bishop takes h5. Well, the only problem here is that these pawns are doubled. So even though there's an extra pawn that black has, it's not easy to realize it. And Nepo has 5 minutes on the clock. Pragg has 4 minutes. It's incredible how Pragg, from a very simple position, managed to put so much pressure on Ian Nepomniachtchi. And he goes pawn to a4. Maybe a good idea is simply drop back. Bishop f7. But this does look dangerous with the king coming in. Not at all easy. He pushes pawn to c5. But with this move, he loses all his advantage. You know, maybe just a5, fixing this weakness. Or even, yeah, he plays e5. That's a very nice move by Ian. Because he opens up this entire diagonal. He opens up the e4 square for the knight. King comes up to f7. And now, knight to e4, attacking f6, c5, g5. Too many things hanging. Knight check. King goes back. And now, pawn takes pawn. Yeah, he takes it. Knight takes g5 is met with king f6 and f5 is hanging. So he takes... Oh, he goes a5. What a nice move. He wants to take on c5 and then also the pawn on a6 is weak. Pragg rushes back with his knight. And bishop g2. Ian is not in no hurry to gain back his material. Bishop comes to g4, attacking the pawn on f5. He takes... Bishop takes, black is still a pawn up, but bishop b7, the a pawn is weak. And while black is now 2 pawns up, white wins a key pawn. But this is not so simple and trivial. Takes, bishop takes, and the bishop comes back defending the pawn. Black has 2 extra pawns, but white's pawn is just moving ahead this way. He goes king d6, so if a6, there's king c7. The bishop comes back to e4. And now simply bishop c6. He first goes bishop c8, defending the square on a6. King f3. And king to c5. He brings his king into the game. Bishop goes back to g6. And now the king is coming up. This a pawn is such a dangerous pawn that even though black is 2 pawns up, it's not helping. b4 played. And bishop e8. I think the main point for Nepo is to stop the king from coming in. Takes, takes. And these 2 pawns are not running anywhere. If you go g4, I go king e3. Bishop f5 played. And next, bishop a4. Brings his bishop back. Bishop c8. Bishop to e8. And you can see Nepo there shaking his head. He knows that he's managed to hold this very tough endgame. King d6. Brings his bishop to f7. Attacking the pawn here on c4. King c5. And he offers a draw to Pragg. Pragg is not responding there. Pragg thinks he still has a chance. Nepo pauses the clock. Supposed to pause the clock. He says that he's going to play bishop e8. And the move bishop e8. And Pragg is also thinking, do I have a chance? And yeah, he accepts a draw. It's equal there. But you can see there, Nepo wanted to discuss. Pragg is like, let's go out and discuss. And that was a very interesting game by both these players.